Hey guys, welcome back. Real quick, I wanted to talk about this whole DEF fluid, that's the diesel exhaust fluid shortage. If you guys didn't catch Travis's video over at Economic Ninja, he just did a video on that, and so I kind of want to touch base on that real fast. I found out about it from his channel, and then I did a little bit more research on it. Found a few more ins and outs with it. The other thing is, I want to try out the new green screen because that was kind of cool. So hopefully I can get this right. I don't think I have any green on my hat that's going to get caught up in it, but if I do, I apologize. I'm just trying to figure out how to work this thing, so it's kind of fun. If you have not already liked and subscribed to this channel, please do so, guys. Smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the little bell notification. That really helps me out. It helps out the YouTube algorithm, and it's just a way that you can give back to me. Everything that we give out here is all for free. We spend a lot of time doing it, so that's the one thing that we kind of ask from you guys is just please hit those little bells, subscribe buttons, like buttons, everything that you can do to help us. We do really appreciate it. The DEF fluid. So when Economic Ninja, when he was talking about that earlier, he was talking about how this is going to affect the shipping lanes and what's going to happen there, and that because for those of you that don't know, modern diesels, anything built, most of it's after about 2010, have the diesel exhaust fluid requirements. There's some different, I think Ram is one, if I remember right, they got by it for a couple of years without it, but now modern diesels, everybody has to have it. Modern semis, all of them have to have it. They have to have the electronic logging system, all that stuff. Basically, the government's trying to get rid of the old diesel engines. They can't make them, they can't, it's very difficult for them just to make them illegal and get rid of them entirely. So the way that they do it is as they kind of fall apart and people start replacing them, they bring these requirements in. It's the same way that Canada started creating a while back the daytime running light thing. It was hard for them to enforce it to the masses, so the way for them to address it was just to enforce it with the manufacturers. And then over time, everybody's driving newer vehicles, and the majority of vehicles fall into that category. We drive an older diesel truck that we'll rebuild over and over again just so we don't have to deal with this crap. But anybody buying a newer vehicle like my dad, everybody's got this DEF fluid in there. So it's obviously going to affect some issues with with those and with the shipping companies, and specifically with the shipping companies, but with the private ownership as well. A lot of those hotshot crews, all those guys are going to be struggling to get their DEF fluid, and that's going to create some issues. So DEF fluid is urea and ionized water, and so the water, obviously, that's not a big deal. The urea is all manufactured in China. So what happened is China said we're no longer going to be exporting as much urea. Simply, I guess they're having some shortages there. It's also used in fertilizer, so it's got some multi-purposes there used in industry and in agriculture. And so China's prioritizing it and saying, hey, we're going to save this for us. We're not going to be exporting as much. You can buy the DEF fluid, but the problem is it doesn't store very well. So generally, you don't want to store it for longer than about 6 months. Obviously, if you were in a pinch, you would have no option, but it just doesn't store very well. So the best thing to do is buy it as you need it and cycle it out. So keep about 6 months supply on hand and keep cycling it out. And that seems to work about the best way. But again, it's just not a very good option. Where this comes into play is the shipping, right? We talked about that. If you're driving a DEF truck or a truck that requires a DEF fluid now, one of the things that you can realize is going to be prioritized is the diesel and the DEF on the trucker side. And you can go to TSP Logistics, you can get your fleet card there for your own personal vehicle, and then you can actually fill up over on the trucker side. It makes it really easy. We do it all the time. We've had a TSP Logistics card for a couple of years now, and we swipe that over there, and it's just like using a regular pump, but now we can use a trucker side. It's usually better quality diesel over there because it's cycled through faster. It's an 80-20 mix, generally of biodiesel, so that little bit of biodiesel helps lubricate your engine a bit better, and you have the DEF fluid right there if you need it. Those are going to be the priority tanks to fill is on the trucker side. The tanks that'll run short is on the consumer side. So just realize that whenever there's a shortage, the trucker side will have stuff that the consumer side won't. The next thing to realize is where this is also going to come to hurt you is in agriculture. Nobody realizes anymore, but tractors, I believe it's 60 horsepower and above, now require the DEF fluid. And below 60 horsepower, they require emissions. I think when you get, if I remember, somebody correct me, if you know the answer, put it in the comments, but I think it's 28 horsepower and below. They don't require any of the new emission stuff on there. But anything that's used in industry, large agricultural tractors, things that you're seeing running, combines, haying equipment, any type of plowing equipment. Most of those big farmers, they're all running 100 and 200 horsepower tractors, very, very large machinery, and a lot of those, they're no longer running the old tractors. The old tractors, we're seeing old small farmers like myself pick that stuff up used on the used market for real cheap, and we're rebuilding it and having to put some money into it so that way we have those options. But the bigger farmers, the ones that produce the majority of the food, they're the ones that are dealing with those new emissions requirements and taking the brunt of that, and they're not going to be able to get around that. They also are struggling to get DEF fluid because they have these large machineries that require a lot of DEF fluid, and so they have to have DEF tanks on their farm, and then trying to get those things filtered out, it's a whole nightmare. So getting this is going to affect us in more ways than just at the pump or at the Home Depot trying to get your DEF fluid for your truck. It's going to affect the cost of your food. It's got some tertiary effects in there that are going to exacerbate the issue. The other thing to realize with this is, and it may not come true, and you may just see a slight price increase because things have become a little bit more of a pain in the ass, and that's about the end of it. And hopefully, hopefully that's all that it is. But the worst case scenario is that we are running on a DEF shortage where we're actually consuming more than we're actually producing or importing, and that becomes a problem. The other, from a fundamental standpoint, it's a huge problem when a large portion of our food and of our shipping mechanism is reliant on a product from China to come over. So even if we are producing our own oil and gas, it doesn't do us any good if we can't drive the vehicles. If you run out of DEF fluid, what will happen is your computer in your truck will shut you down into limp mode. Depending on the model, year, and everything, that can be anywhere between 5 to 10 miles an hour. I think some vehicles go up to 40 miles an hour. I don't think there's anything that goes above that. But it can, it'll shut your vehicle down and put it into that limp mode. And so that obviously you can't function like that. That's just to get you to the next gas station to top off your DEF. If that next gas station doesn't have that DEF, you've got some real problems. So anyways, guys, I wanted to bring you not really new information because Travis put this out yesterday, but I really just wanted to bring you some information on it as far as what this is going to affect past the shipping realm. There's some obvious effects with the shipping realm, and then we've got these effects now with the agricultural realm that we need to realize, and that's not including what it's going to do to you personally if you're driving a personal vehicle. If you've got a diesel vehicle manufactured in the last couple of years, it's going to have that DEF fluid on there, so you guys know what I'm talking about. You already know that it's annoying. It is illegal to delete those things, but people do it all the time. That's getting harder and harder to do, so take that for what it's worth. Really appreciate y'all watching. Like I said, I just want to get this video out to you. So if you have any questions or anything below in the comments, if I messed up something with the timelines on that, like I said, I think it was about 2010 when they started requiring this, but somebody can correct me down there in the comment box. Just pop the information down there if you know it off the top of your head. I don't remember it. I got to look that up all the time, but we'll see y'all. I think Amanda Lynn's got her real estate video coming out tomorrow, so we'll see y'all tomorrow. Thanks.